So your house has been on the market 6 weeks. 2 showings the first weekend, then nothing. And your agent just said, let's talk about price. Here's what should bother you about that conversation. Around 40% of Atlanta sellers cut their asking price. But that's all of Atlanta. Inside the perimeter, the average house is going under contract in about 45 days. So those two numbers are not describing the same market. So if your in-town house is sitting past day 45, the market is not your problem. Something specific about your house is. I'm Krista coore-powell, Atlanta Realtor with eXp Realty, and today we're going to talk about the 4 reasons an in-town Atlanta house actually sits and what I'd fix before I ever touch the price. Stay to the end because number 4 isn't why your house didn't sell, it's why it sold. And then came back. Before we start, the in-town Atlanta seller checklist is linked below. Same list I run on every single bungalow. Grab it. All right, number 1. What number is actually yours? Let's separate those two numbers because you're being handed the wrong one. That 40% figure is Metro Atlanta, all 11 counties. We're talking Cobb, Gwinnett, Henry, Clayco, all of it. And in that same report, the Metro median time on market was 84 days. In-town, in the perimeter, is a different animal. The in-town report puts average days on market 45, with the average sale price up 5% year over year. 45, not 84. Now here's the honest part, because I'm not going to sell you a fairy tale. The 45 is up about 12% from a year ago. And in that same report, 12 of the 39 in-town markets that they track saw the average price go down over 12 months. But it's slower than it was. Anybody telling you in-town is immune is definitely trying to sell you something. But slower is not stalled. If you are sitting at day 60 inside I-25, you are not average, you're an outlier. And outliers have reasons, and 4 big ones. Reason 1, and on a pre-1960 house, this is a big one, you're priced against a comp that you cannot match. Here's how that happens. 2 streets over in Kirkwood, a house sells for $780,000. It's going to have maybe same square footage as yours, built the same year. You look at that number and you think, well, awesome, that's my number. Except that house went through an investor. So it's got new kitchen, new bathrooms, updated floors, new HVAC, new roof, professionally staged. Yours has the kitchen you put in and a roof that's maybe on year 18. These are not the same house. In town, we're not really pricing houses. We're pricing condition tiers, condition levels. Original, updated, and fully renovated are 3 different price bands on the same street at the same square footage. And here's the part that's true here, but not true in the suburbs, right? In a subdivision where every house went up the same year, price per square foot works fine, makes lots of sense. But on a block in Grant Park where you have an 1899 Victorian, a 1928 bungalow, a 2004 infill, and a 2023 new build within 500 feet of each other, price per square foot is nearly meaningless. Appraisers know that. Your buyer's lender knows that. So when a house sits, the first question I ask is not, is it overpriced? It's which tier were we priced in and which tier are we actually in? Okay. Reason number 2, your buyer's cost to own this house is actually higher than yours on the exact same house. 2 pieces, and both of them are more true in town than probably anywhere else in Metro Atlanta. First, you're going to have the tax bill. If you've owned inside the city of Atlanta for 20 years, you're very likely carrying homestead exemptions that have held your assessed value down for a long time. That protection is yours. It's not the house's. So your buyer's going to start over at a new assessment, which means the number that they're underwriting is not the number that's on your bill. And listen, I have to say this clearly. I'm not a CPA and I'm definitely not a tax attorney. Exemption rules differ between the city of Atlanta, unincorporated DeKalb, and the city of Decatur. And they change. Call the county tax commissioner, call your CPA, and ask them exactly what transfers and what dies at closing. Do not take that from a YouTube video, including mine. Second is going to be insurance. Georgia premiums are roughly up 40% since 2021, and roof age is now an underwriting trigger for a lot of carriers, somewhere around the 12 to 15 year mark. 1928 house with a 2009 roof can shrink your buyer pool before anybody says one word about price. So you're going to put those two together, and your buyer is doing completely different math than you are. Reason number 3, and this one stings a little. In town, your buyer pool is smaller and it is very specific. Somebody who wants a 1920s bungalow within walking distance of the Southside Trail is not also shopping for a 5-bedroom in Alpharetta. It's a narrow group of people, and most of them are going to have alerts set, which means they all saw your house in the first 2 weeks. All of them. So at day 45, cutting the price $10,000 does not reach anybody new. It just tells the people who already passed that you're negotiable, and then they wait. What I would rather do at day 45 is change what they're looking. New photography, shot on a bright day, wide lens, off a tripod, a floor plan, which matters enormously on a house which has a converted attic or a closed-in porch, because a buyer cannot read that from the photos, and an honest written explanation of the condition tier or band that you're in, so a buyer stops mentally comparing you to the flip. That's not spin. It's giving people the information they need to price you correctly in their own head. And reason 4, the one I told you to stay for, sometimes your house is not sitting, it went under contract and then it came back. In that same Metro report, about 1 in 5 active listings was a relisted property. That's roughly double what's normal. In town, 2 things are causing that more than anything else. Number 1, unpermitted square footage, the finished basement, the converted attic, the porch somebody closed in, 2004. Beautiful work, a lot of time, but if it was never permitted, that appraiser may not count it and the lender will not lend on it. So your contract price and your appraisal value split apart in week 5, and now you are renegotiating from behind. And number 2 is going to be the sewer lateral. On a pre-1950 house in town, you may be sitting on cast iron or clay. The buyer's inspector puts a camera down in it, finds a crack or a root intrusion, and now you're staring at a 4-figure repair while your buyer decides whether or not they still want the house. Both of these are findable before you list. A permit history pull at the City of Atlanta will cost you, at worst, an afternoon. A sewer camera costs a couple $100. I've seen as low as $150. And finding those in week 5 costs you the deal, and then it costs you a price cut too. So, we're sitting at day 45, no offer. 3 buckets. Bucket 1, you are original condition and you're priced in the renovated tier. That's not a price cut, that's repricing. Get honest about your tier and move once, decisively, to where your tier is actually selling. Small cuts every 2 weeks are the most expensive way in the world to lower a price, because it just drags things out. Bucket number 2, you're priced right but presented badly. Photos, floor plan, condition write-up, reset the listing before you touch a dollar. And then bucket 3, you do not even know what actual band you're sitting in or what you're sitting on. Permits, sewer, roof age, insurance quote, pull all 4 this week. You cannot price a house you have not diagnosed, and that's true whether it's on the market or not. And look, I've moved across 2 states and 4 countries. I know the version of this where you're staring at a house that will not sell, and the next chapter you cannot start until it does. It's not a pricing problem, it's a sequencing problem. And it has answers. So if your house is sitting right now, do not cut the price this week. Book a seller strategy call with me instead. Link is below, or call or text me at 470-740-6387. And we will figure out which of those 4 it is before you actually give away $1. Thanks for watching. Remember, strategy, not stress.